Hello Axis&Allies community, this is Dutch Lancaster and welcome to my first gameplay video. It's been a couple of sessions. Well, we started this game actually in January, so now it's halfway May, so you can imagine that I had to refresh my memory looking back at several videos. Which I'm not very happy with, but please bear with me while I explain all the different rounds, and some video material is filmed upside up, and oh, hello cat. And yeah, I don't like the video quality as well, but please bear with me. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't shoot that video again, as you can imagine. Also a poor choice of words sometimes. Well, then you really know it's not your native tongue that I'm speaking. So please bear with me. Oh yeah, there was one other thing that I wanted you guys to show. My folks went to the United States and got me this sweater at Norfolk. Nice, isn't it? And oh, I got this as well. Maybe the camera can focus. It's like a mini battleship in a bottle from the battleship North Carolina. Anyhow, please enjoy, and if you have any comments, please let me know. Dutch Lancaster.
Yeah.
It is January 27th, D-Day. It's the initial setup of the game. I will be playing all the Allied factions, playing against two of my friends, who will be playing the Axis. Hi guys, welcome back. Just a small summary. Everything that happened after round one, and wow, a lot has happened. Just a quick tour at the board. So Germany did the attack on sea zones 110, 111. They took 106 with two subs. UK defended poorly. They lost the transport and the destroyer. And UK in response brought the cruiser from sea zone 91 and the destroyer from sea zone 109, and they got rid of the German subs, so that's okay. But in sea zone 110 in Germany didn't bring enough, to my opinion. They dropped two bombers, battleship, tactical bomber, fighter, and just one sub. So although I have considered to use the fighters in a torrential raid, I scrambled, and the odds were slightly with me. But Germany got a bit lucky, got rid of the Royal Air Force, and they left with two bombers, which are now in Western Germany. So Germany brought a destroyer, a transport, and then an airbase. The Italians, they were quite unlucky. Even though I lost a lot of fighters, I still did the torrential raid with success. But I left sea zones, what is that, 96. I left them intact, and the Italians got rid of the French. They got Greece, so together with taking Gibraltar, they have a national objective of 5 IPCs, but they got convoyed for 4 credits here, and by the French, who were at Kenya. They also got a credit, so they lost 5 credits as well. The Russians, the Soviet Union is not at war, so I retreated. I bought a bomber, a destroyer, which is kind of my crazy Soviet move, and a lot of infantry and artillery, and I backed up to prepare for Operation Barbarossa. I moved these mechanical units towards China because my global strategy is to get rid of Germany first. That's why I have this American fleet. I brought all the ships from Season 10. I brought them over to the West Indies to prepare for invasion of Normandy, but that's something the guys don't know yet. So here, Japan, the Soviet Union retreated some of the infantry towards Moscow, but the majority of those infantry they stayed to force Japan to leave some infantry behind, because my strategy is for China and together with the Soviet Union troops to hold on the land against Japan. Looks like Japan, they brought almost all of their fleet to this sea zone. There's no doubt they're going for Calcutta, so I'm preparing something of a defense against that. I brought some planes to defend in Malaya, and I brought transport so I can get to Sumatra to at least have some income. These ships, they left from Madagascar and South Africa, so in the next turn they can either go to Malaya or to Season 39 to defend against the Japanese threat. The Philippines, I just left the sub and the fighter because I don't think Japan will go for the Philippines yet, because that would bring the United States into the war, and I don't think they're ready for that yet. And so all of the American ships from Hawaii, they move towards season, what's that? 54, season 54. The strategy is to make them pay if they are going for the Money Islands. Anzac, they just moved the fighters from New Zealand to what's that? Queensland, and one of the fighters they flew towards Malaya to defend against Japanese invasion there. So as for Japan, they bought one transport, and they bought a harbor, a naval base, just that, on that island. So United States, well, it looks kind of barren. Everything has gone to the Europe side. One thing I did bring is the strategic bomber, because it has a very nice range over these islands, and well, if the United States are at war, then I can immediately strike back. So this is the first round. A lot has happened. I had some bad luck in season 110, but well, you win some, you lose some. Can't really complain. Up to round 2. Welcome to round 2. Again, a lot has happened. Germany started invading the Soviet Union. It's a decent force in Baltic states. They took eastern Poland, but then the Soviets took it back. They made a minor facility in Yugoslavia. And they put on some transports. Which way will they go? In response, Soviet Union built up a formidable force in Volgograd. Novgorod. And there are some forces also in the south. Soviet Union stayed put on the border with Japan. And I forgot to move these, but they can go back if possible. So Japan, they succeeded in taking India. I made a mistake. I should have blocked this passageway, but I was quite fortunate and I took back India. Now Japan has to decide what to do with their fleet. They have a big force on Japan, so it won't easily be taken. And they made work of the Chinese. America decided to put some units in the Pacific. Took out some destroyers along the Caroline Islands and some blockers. And they flew a strategic bomber to Australia. Well, UK Pacific, well, they took India back, and I don't think it will be taken within reasonable time. Of course, they're gonna get convoyed, so they will only make 7 IPCs. UK Europe, I forgot to move this guy. So I put a lot of forces in the UK on London to hold against a possible sea lion. UK got rid of some Italian forces. They're only in Alexandria, so not a national objective yet. But I think Egypt is quite safe. It took away some forces from Italy. Of course, their fleet in '97 got bombed by the Luftwaffe. And America is here with a formidable fleet in season 91 and took a transport to Brazil and made some transports on the main land. In China, well, they just built some forces, took Anhui. That's all they did. They're now down to 9 IPCs, but still holding on. So UK Pacific, they got rid of some Japanese subs. NSEC and France put on some blockers. I reinforced the Philippines with some NSEC fighters, and I got rid of these Japanese transports. NSEC, they're making 24 IPCs because they took Java and they have both national objectives. So next round they will be starting pumping up some forces. So it's not finished yet. We will proceed this game within a few weeks. And this is the score. So this is what every country makes money-wise. Stay tuned, it's February the 16th. We are picking up the game here at round 3. So we're playing this game at a friend of mine who has a different board. So let's get familiar again with the setup. Japanese fleet, some Allied ships, USA, still a bit barren on the Pacific side, some decent forces in Japan, so it's Germany's turn. Turn 3, beginning of round 4. Just an overview of the board. Germany has decided to take Leningrad. They took all transport to sea zone 127. Soviet Union went with the strategic bomber, got rid of the transports and moved back to Russia. They retreated somewhat and they put on some infantry to block the tanks, and in response they've taken Finland. UK went with some Spitfires to Norway to get rid of the Italian and German planes, but they got a bit unlucky, so they landed the 2 remaining fighters at Finland. UK also got Holland, Belgium. They went into Alexandria, taken that, into the Middle East, and the UK Pacific got Burma back. So on the European theater, the United States have brought all their transports and troops into Sea Zone 91 to go either into the Med or maybe up north. In response, Italy and Germany have stationed troops in Western Europe. Japan, they went with their fleet into the Money Islands, not taking any of them, but getting rid of some Allied surface warships. And they also took Alaska and British Columbia in response. United States took away the transports and built some land forces as well as some strategic bombers. United States were trying to take the Caroline Islands, got a bit unlucky. So that's the remainder of that battle. And they built a minor facility in the Philippines, which is still quite safe. ANZAC built a transport, moved some troops to Sea Zone 45, and they went to Guangxi to try to get rid of as much as Japanese planes as possible, landing in Kwaichou. Up to round 4, Germany round starting. 4. It's Italy's turn. Still have to finish this. So let's see what's happening over here. USA has decided to invade Normandy and Holland, Belgium. Put some ships into the Med. UK has built up some forces and they've put their land troops on the US transports. On the Eastern Front, Soviets have retreated and taken back some territories from the Germans. The Germans have taken Finland, for that matter. Here in India, UK Pacific has built up some defenses, and Japan now is all over the place, unchallenged ship-wise, but they lost all their transports and a carrier because of the strategic bombers that were placed in western United States. They flew all the way to Sea Zone 6 and landed combined with a fighter in Amur. The Soviets, they have gathered all their forces in Amur. United States, they have built a miner production facility in the Philippines. ANZAC has built transports and a cruiser to aid the Americans in the struggle in the Pacific. Japan, they had invaded Alaska and they also went to the eastern part of the map, but it was taken back by the Americans. Strategically bombed the miner facility over there, and US has built some subs. So they gathered enough land forces to repel the Japanese invasion. And Tokyo is quite empty. Japan in fact has used several kamikaze tokens both in Sea Zone 6 as well as in the Philippines, so they have no more kamikaze tokens. Chinese, they have taken back some land, challenging the remainder of the Japanese troops over here. So we will pick up the game hopefully in a couple of weeks, and it is Italy's turn, round 4. Welcome yet again. It is March 16th and it is Italy's turn, round 4. We're picking up this game yet again at another friend's place. So this is the initial setup just before Italy. I will get back to you guys at the beginning of round 5. At the beginning of turn 5, Germany already went, so they took out the American destroyer. They took back Normandy and Holland, Belgium with support of the Luftwaffe. They bought a strategic bomber and they moved some infantry back to Norway as well as Western Germany. They will put some infantry in Berlin, and they bought some tanks in Volgograd, moving those tanks from Finland back to Novgorod. That's the Soviet Union's turn. It's round 6. It's the turn of US. We have decided to quit for today, to continue again for the 4th session this time to finish up the game. UK and US had taken Normandy and Holland, Belgium, but it was taken back by the Italian and German forces. Now there are only some forces, land forces left in Norway, and the carrier group from the US is there in sea zone 112. Germany has bought some Luftwaffe over here and over here. Soviet Union has made a big battle, big success in Volgograd. They took out all of the German land forces trying to invade Moscow. So from there it seems we can continue our way west for the Soviet Union. UK has built up some forces around Egypt, still convoying the Italians. Here's some ships destroyed from the Italians and some ships from the US just scattering around the Mediterranean, denying the bonus for Italy. India was taken by the Japanese. They are continuing their way towards India. UK forces trying to rally some troops, maybe to stop them. Anzac has deployed a lot of forces, some fighters and infantry on land and in the sea. A cruiser, a transport, a destroyer and 2 subs ready to strike at the Japanese if they were to go for the Money Islands. Japanese standing here at the Philippines and sea zone 36. The Chinese, they have driven off all the Japanese from mainland, and next turn they're going for Hong Kong. So they will make quite a sum of money. Here is kind of a standoff. Soviet Union to Korea, where a lot of US Air Force is now stationed. Japan has bolstered Japan with some fighters, some tanks, so that seems safe. US has built some navy with some transports, took back the Alaska. Near some subs and a single transport at Pearl Harbor. So we will continue the game with the US at round 6. We are now at turn 7, Germany's turn. So let me tell you everything that happened in round 6. So the US, they took away the Italian destroyer in season 19-3. They went from the carrier with a fighter and tactical bomber from season 112. They took out the 2 strategic bombers sitting there in Germany, and they landed in Romania. And the other big attack they did was a strategic bombing raid on Tokyo. It was very successful. The Allies were able to damage the airbase for 5 and the production facility for 17. Also, Japan decided to intercept those bombers, and they actually lost 2 fighters. The Americans, they bought 2 additional bombers in western United States, a battleship, a cruiser and a sub, and they moved all the tanks also to western United States. They moved a lot of naval forces into sea zone 26 and flew some planes on Wake Island. They started convoying the Japanese with the sub, and also on the Atlantic side, they took their transports to Season 90 and Season 109, and they bought some infantry. So together with the tank and the anti-air, they are able to move again towards the Atlantic with some land forces. Also they went with one transport to Season 86 to pick up those Brazilian forces. UK, they took Western Germany, but the Italians took it back. That developed in having their minor production facility in Western Germany, and they landed in Norway as well as Romania. Also they took a transport, and they took Yugoslavia as well as Greece. So that made a big jump in economy wise. So they built some forces in Egypt, and they made a minor production facility in Persia to be able to intercept those Japanese forces. And the Italians, they, as I mentioned, they took back Western Germany, and they practically moved all their forces back to southern and northern Italy to defend against the possible invasion. And ANZAC, they went from Season 54 to Season 37, and they took back Malaya, moving some subs across the Pacific, and they bought a transport cruiser and an infantry to be able to move onto those Money Islands. Oh yeah, and there was France. They just moved some infantry towards the Middle East. Now it's up to Germany to think of something smart. In turn 7, the end of turn 7, we called it an Allied victory. Germany and Italy have a lot of troops still left, but Soviet Union and UK are simply outproducing them, so could still be numerous turns before Berlin has fallen, but I think the writing is on the wall. So in the Middle East, UK has built a minor production facility, took care of those Japanese troops. So to me it looks like it's also a matter of time before India is back into UK hands. So for example, Soviet Union, this is the income tracker. So they are producing 45 credits plus the 17 bonus. For example, that's 62 credits they're making. Also, United States and UK are producing a lot more than Japanese and German player in Italy. Well, they're only making enough to produce some infantry. On the Pacific side, Japan still has a large enough fleet to protect the homeland, but they haven't taken the Money Islands. As a matter of fact, these two carriers will be lost if ANZAC moves into that sea zone. And the United States, well, they have a fleet here at the Carolina Islands, in Hawaii, and at the homeland sea zone 10, and they still have 6 strategic bombers over there. So in my opinion, it's also a matter of time before Tokyo has fallen. It was a good game, and better luck next time for the Axis.